Halloween DIYs you are absolutely going to love from Dollar Tree. I'm Jamie, the Crafty DIY guy. Hey everyone, for our first project we are going to be using one of these old Dollar Tree signs and some wood beads that I happen to have on hand from last year. The first thing I did was take my sign outside and just sand it down with my Ryobi mouse sander. I'll include that link below in case you're interested. Also, I'm using this white primer from Rust-Oleum. I'm just going to give the tray or the frame here just one covering. Then I'm going to take these oversized popsicle sticks and I'm going to trim them down so they fit within the frame, kind of like so. Since I have this one, I'm going to use this as my template, and I'm just going to mark off some of these sticks using my jumbo pencil from Dollar Tree. And then I'm going to take my lineman pliers and just trim away. After that, I did wax everything with some of that antiquing wax that I love so much. I think this one was from Craft Smart. And I'm just going to spread it literally on one side of those sticks all over until I have all of the sticks completely covered. Then I'm simply just going to hot glue them down. My side actually worked out perfectly. I didn't have to trim any of my sticks, so it actually worked out just fine. I was going to say perfectly again, but you know, how many times can you say perfect? Then for my letters, I didn't film this part, but I did take them outside and just give everything a spray of orange spray paint there. And then I used my heat gun to kind of help dry them a little bit. And you can see they're still a little sticky, but that's okay. They're certainly a little bit brighter than I expected. I ran out of my other orange paint midway, but I'm going to make it work. I'm going to take one of these oversized popsicle sticks and just use this as a guide. And then I'm simply just going to glue those letters directly down. Now for my beads, I'm going to take them and also spray paint them that orange color. You can see they're a little bit brighter because it's a different color orange than the letters. So I am going to take a little bit of antiquing wax and try and kind of tone them down. For the actual hanger, I'm using those beads as that hanger, and I'm just going to stick them to the back kind of like so with some hot glue and just some extra pieces of popsicle sticks. This ends up holding this really, really well, and it works out good. I try and do this literally for almost every single project that I'm working on. I also wanted to give this a little bit of a, I don't know, a little zhuzh, we'll say. So I'm taking some raffia and just tying it in a simple bow like this. I'm twisting the bottom pieces here just so they kind of stay together a little bit better when I'm gluing it onto the bottom of my frame, as you see. And then you can see here that it's hanging on the door and that I've loosened up the bottom part of that bow or that ribbon made out of raffia. I really love the way this looks. I think it's very quintessential kind of fall and holidays and Thanksgiving, and I'm just really happy with the way it turned out. And for my next project, you're just going to need an oversized decorative bowl. You're going to add some garland from Dollar Tree. Also some of these velvet pumpkins. I grabbed 4 of them the last time I was out. Then we're going to grab some of these wood pieces from Dollar Tree. Who am I kidding? Those few won't work. And then also some of these raised candlesticks from Dollar Tree as well. I did grab 4 of these. And then the very last thing I grabbed were some white pumpkins from Hobby Lobby. And then I lied. I didn't have a last thing. There's one more thing, and that is these orange votives that I did pick up at Dollar Tree. So the first thing I'm going to do is add some of this foam into the bottom of my platter or my bowl here. It's pretty flat, so this is just going to help elevate the center. And then I'm literally going to take this garland and yes, I'm gluing it down to this metal bowl. It's not going to hurt it. And I'm just going to place this garland kind of on the outside of the bowl at first because I want to make sure that I have good coverage with all of this garland. So as you can see, I'm literally just kind of taking little pieces of leaves and the garland itself and just going all the way around the bowl. I love working with this garland, especially if I'm going to be doing a large floral arrangement of some kind. What the heck is a large? And I love this one too because it's got really cool acorns and just bright colored leaves. It's a lot of fun. Then I'm literally just adding more, and then I am going to add in some of those wood pieces. You can see that I'm also gluing those right on the edge of that bowl and just kind of spreading them out, just kind of creating, you know, like it's nature, like you're finding this out in the middle of the woods somewhere. Those wood pieces are kind of in the way, so I'm going to move them and kind of stack them up in the center and pull them off to the side. You can see here that I added another garland strand, kind of like so. And I'm literally just working around that center styrofoam piece that you see there. Once I've got it filled in really nicely, I am going to go ahead and place some of my pumpkins in. I'm just going to do the orange ones at first, and then I'm going to go through and play around with the placement and kind of figure out what I'm going to do with those candle holders. Now, the candle holders for the most part will fit pretty flat onto my surface, but I am going to, well, before the candles, I'm going to add in some of these white pumpkins that I grabbed from Hobby Lobby. I love these, and it was a good deal. It was 10 of them for $9, so it actually worked out really well for this particular project because they're still $1 each, and they do sell these white pumpkins at Dollar Tree, so you could easily replicate this. For those candlesticks, I did put a generous amount of hot glue on the bottom of them, and then I just kind of held them into place so that hot glue would harden, and then they stood actually upright. Depending on your bowl, you may have to play around with this a little bit more. Then I am just literally just kind of filling in more of that garland and just kind of spreading out those leaves and just kind of trying to cover up and fill in any holes. You can do this with miscellaneous pieces like I have here. And then you'll notice I'm still keeping that center styrofoam kind of open. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I'm going to actually place a very large pillar candle right in the middle there. And I happen to have this really great burgundy pillar candle that I've had literally forever. I think I snagged it at Pier 1 probably 10 years ago, and it's one of my favorite scents, and I love it so much. And once I'm done with that, I'm just gonna kind of go through and fluff it a little bit more. Honestly, this isn't really a crazy difficult DIY. I am not a flower guy at all, but I love the way that this is turning out, and I love the integration of the wood pieces and everything with it. Then you see here, I'm just once again kind of filling in with some miscellaneous leaves, and I added those orange votives, and again, I really love the way this looks. I think it's super, super cute, and when it's all lit up, it's even more beautiful, and it's going to be the perfect centerpiece on my dining room table for this fall. Using one of these kind of Mercury glass looking pumpkin candle holders that I grabbed at Dollar Tree. Also, I grabbed a bundle of these florals. I liked this particular one because it has this kind of burlap inset that I really like. Also, I grabbed some raffia and also 2 different types of Dollar Tree ribbon. I like both of these, but I think I'm going to go with this one here instead. First, I took some raffia and just cut it to fit around the top of that candle holder. But before I wrap that around, I am going to take my ribbon and just glue it around the top part of the candle holder like so. And then, as you can see, I tied it off into a little bow. I'm going to take all of my floral stems and just trim them down all the way to the base, making sure that they're as flat as possible. That way, when I glue everything onto the side of the candle holder, it will have a nice solid hold. And I'm just going to put it right in the middle of this raffia bow that you see here. For this next part, I'm just going to put a candle in it, light it up, and put it on the table. I love the way this looks, and I think it's very perfect for my fall centerpiece. I'm making one of those concrete planters, and it's the first time I'm doing this, so hopefully it works out. This isn't an awkward angle at all, is it? All right, for your supplies for this project, you're going to need 2 or at least 1 of these pumpkins here. These are the kind of the 3-dimensional pumpkins. You can see they've kind of got the, you can see kind of the lines in them because that's going to help make your mold. You're also going to need a large bucket of some kind. I just picked this one up at Lowe's when I went to Lowe's today. You're going to need some fast drying concrete. You're also going to need some spray pan, and you're also going to want to grab some solo cups. And then lastly, you're going to want some water. This is a live hose. So I'm currently trying to pour this heavy bag of concrete in this, and it's heavy. I can't get it. Stirring this concrete's no joke. I had to switch to a big shovel and come out here in the rain, and it's a lot heavier than I thought. But it's okay, it's starting to look good. And now, after you've got a good coat of the pumpkin, sorry, I'm
trying to do this one-handed. I should have brought my tripod down with me. Then you're literally going to start taking your concrete mix and just start pouring it in that pumpkin. So I'm gonna do that, and I'll show you what it looks like before I put the solo cup in it, all right? Okay, this is a weird angle, but what you're gonna wanna do is you wanna fill your pumpkin up with concrete just about halfway to the eyeballs. So that kind of gives you an idea of how much space I left. Now, what you wanna do is take a solo cup, that's this, and spray it with Pam. And then what you're gonna do is take it and sink it in to the pumpkin. Now, it's not going to stay down there, so you're going to have to put some weight in it. So I'm gonna find a piece of board or something and get this weight down and go ahead and start on pumpkin number 2. I'm feeling pretty good about it. I think I'm gonna let it dry longer than 24 hours though. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. Okay guys, I am back. I've let this guy dry for almost 48 hours. It feels pretty solid, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and give it a try. If this one fails, I do have one more that's curing under the house. It's very heavy and it looks pretty good. So let's get started. Now this part, of course, you want to be very, very careful with. I'm gonna get this started. Well, I'm gonna try, forget that. We're just gonna go with the X-Acto knife. And you wanna just be very careful. And I'm just going along the seam of the pumpkin here because it seems to be the best way to just get a good cut. So let's see. Also, you want to do this not across the face of your pumpkin, because this will put, you know, a little bit of lines in there. And you obviously don't want scratches across the face of your pumpkin. Now, after you've released it from the mold, you can go through and actually put dampened water on those crease marks, and it'll help kind of hide that. So that's just a little tip that I learned on some of the videos that I watched. So far, ooh, I want to cut my finger off. Let's see if we can get this out. Yeah, so you spray it down with the Pam, and that just lifts out. And then you see that is where your plant goes. And then after you cut this away, you want to have a sanding block. This is the Dollar Tree sanding block, because you want to just kind of smooth this out just a little bit. So let's just keep going here. I'm not going to cut the camera, so sorry if you're bored watching me do this, but all of the videos I've seen, people aren't really showing you this step. And ooh, that's a strong pumpkin. And you want to make sure, you know, that you're doing this the right way. And it's thicker. Oof. It's thicker down there at the base, so definitely be careful. Now, I did see where in one video they recommended that you do multiple cuts. It's almost like you're peeling a piece of fruit or something. So sorry guys, I know that this is off camera here just a little bit, but I'm trying to show you this, obviously, without cutting my hand off. That's starting to come apart. Good. Nice. I'm not going to cut across the face, so I'm just going to see if I can. Oh, it looks like it's working. Can you guys see that? It's working, at least on this side. Oh, I might have to cut on his face because he's not releasing from there, but look at that. I'm so excited. Oh, I'm very excited. This is gonna turn out good. All right, I'm gonna have to release some of this here. So I'm gonna kind of cut around a little tighter there. That is my roommate walking in the door, so just ignore him. And we almost have this sucker done. I think this is going to turn out really good. Let's see, almost done here. I don't want to rush it, because knowing me, I'll cut my hand off. And I need the hand. Oh, we're so close. It did it. Check it out. It is done. Now I'm just gonna take my sanding block, just kind of release some of these loose chips. And it's done. Check it out. That's cool as hell. Now you can put a plant in there. You can put a, gosh, you can put a candle in there. You can really do anything. If you do want to paint this though, you should let it dry for another 48 hours before you do that. So that's my pumpkin planter. Yay, it worked. Hopefully the second one works too, because I'm sure my mom's gonna want this. We're going to take some Dollar Tree raffia, also some twine or some cord. I happen to have this package on hand from Michael's. I also grabbed 2 of these packages of these wooden leaf ornaments. And then I have some wood beads. These are left over from a Michael's haul I did a while ago. You can use really any kind of wood beads that you might have on hand. So first we're going to take our leaves and we are going to paint them all 10 of them. And I'm using this orange, this gold paint, and then also this antiquing wax. So with the orange, I'm kind of being very sporadic with it, as you can see. And then I'm going to take a paper towel and we're just going to rub in that orange color. I don't care if I've got complete coverage. That's not what this is about. And I am literally just going to, once again, take that orange paint, rub it up a little bit with my paper towel, and then I'm going to take some of the antiquing wax and apply it to my paper towel. And I love the variation of the orange and that gold of the wood, but then we're going to add our antiquing wax right on top of that, and you'll see that it starts to fill in some of those spots, and it really gives it a cool effect, almost like it's fall. And then we're going to take our gold paint, and this is an all-purpose or multi-surface paint that folk art makes, and it's like a bling gold. I absolutely love it. And we're going to buff that, and then it's going to create this really cool fall leaf effect. Once all of my leaves are done, then we're going to go ahead and start stringing them. I'm tying one leaf to my cord and then putting 8 beads and then adding another leaf and creating my garland. Now, I ran out of beads, so my garland's not going to be quite as long as I would like it to. I would definitely be making a trip back to Michael's to get more of these beads because I absolutely loved the way this garland looked. So you'll simply tie 2 loops on the end of it, so you have a strand of garland like so, and you'll have it hanging on the fireplace before you know it. Look at the cool variations of those leaves. I love this technique. It is the perfect technique for fall leaves, and this is what it looks like on my mantle. I absolutely love this look. And for project number 2, we're going to grab one of these wooden stars from Michael's. I grabbed mine on the clearance rack for 80% off. Also, I grabbed 2 bags of this vase filler from Dollar Tree. For my star, I'm going to be just flipping this over and using antiquing wax. We're going to be painting the backside as well as the sides of the star with the antiquing wax. I'm almost using this like paint. I'm going to put a nice thick cover of the antiquing wax or the paint on the back of the star and also on the sides of the star. And then I'm going to be wiping it off with my paper towel to give a really cool, very rich surface. And then we're going to do the inside as well. For the outside edge of my star, I'm going to be using that folk art multi-surface gold paint again. And we're just going to be going around the edge of the star, making sure we have 2 great coatings of paint. Once the paint is dried, I'm going to go ahead and add a generous amount of hot glue in the bottom, and then very quickly add my vase filler down to that glue, making sure that everything is sticking and nice and solid. Then I'm just going to go through and add another layer of hot glue and just start literally building those layers of vase filler up all the way. This star did take exactly 2 packages of the vase filler, which was great. Once everything dried, I had this gorgeous DIY star that I absolutely love so much. It's a perfect complement on my bar. It's definitely very modern farmhouse. It even has a cool kind of industrial vibe, which I'm definitely loving. Use a raffia bundle from Dollar Tree. Also some of this buffalo check ribbon I grabbed at Dollar Tree. And then some of these twig pieces from a previous Dollar Tree haul. For my scrap wood, I just have 3 pieces that are in varying sizes, as you see here. And then I also grabbed some of these wood tumbling tower blocks. First, I took my 3 pieces of wood and I'm going to use some wood glue and actually just glue these together. I'm kind of overlapping them like you see here because I want to make sure that this gives it kind of a cool 3D look. I took everything outside and spray painted it with some white primer and then brought it inside and gave everything a single coat of my chalk paint from Rust-Oleum. Once everything was dry, I helped it along with my heat gun there. I did also paint my tumbling tower blocks. I painted all the blocks that were in that one package with this black chalk paint. That way I had plenty of blocks and I could use them all for this project. And I did end up using almost all of these blocks, by the way, for this project. Once everything was dry, I then started to glue my pieces on to spell out the word fall. I'm just adding some wood glue on the back of each piece with my paintbrush. That way I can control the amount of glue that goes onto each one. And I'm just spelling out the word fall using those tumbling tower blocks. And then I am going to go in and age my piece of wood, kind of like you see here. Then I went back through and after I rubbed everything in a little bit, I did add some additional chalk paint to make sure that it did not look totally brown and yucky. Once everything dried, I then glued my wood stems on top of each one of my wood blocks to kind of give them a little bit of a pumpkin effect, kind of an abstract pumpkin. For the stems, I wanted to create some little bow ties, so I'm taking my buffalo check ribbon, simply folding it in half, then I'm going to pinch it down the middle, holding that with my fingers and then wrapping it with the raffia pieces kind of like so. And then once I have everything wrapped around and I like the thickness of that center point, I'm just going to take a little bit of hot glue and simply just wrap it around there and glue it down on the back side. I wanted my bow ties to have more of a ribbon effect, so I'm going to take a piece of raffia and just simply wrap it around the twig itself, crisscross it in the middle, and then glue the bow tie directly on top. So when everything is done, you have a piece that looks like this. Super cute, isn't it? I love the way this looks. I think it's super fun for fall. It's very chic and very trendy. We're going to need some Dollar Tree florals. We're going to need a lot of Dollar Tree florals. We're also going to need one of these grapevine wreaths. You can add some ribbon if you want. I actually did not end up using it. One of these adorable Scarecrow door hangers. And again, like I mentioned, lots of Dollar Tree florals. I used every bit that I could possibly find and then some. I found these pumpkin sprays. I loved it all. So first I took some of my suede paint and I just literally just kind of used it like antiquing wax and just started to cover my grapevine wreath just to kind of age it a little bit. Once it was completely dry, I did go ahead and chop up my Scarecrow there, just so I could kind of make sure that everything would lay out properly and kind of get a visual, if you will, of what I wanted to kind of create here. Then I put those pieces aside because I'm not going to be using them right away, because I have this tedious process of cutting apart all of these pieces of floral. And I just created several piles, as you can see here, and literally just started going at it between my glue gun and the actual grapevine wreath itself. It's pretty easy to decorate these. The stems fit really nicely most of the time throughout that grapevine wreath, and I'm kind of going a little quick here because I am not an expert at wreaths by any means. I just kind of go with what I think looks good, and I'm pretty happy with the way that this one is shaping up. Again, I'm just kind of filling in holes and creating this whole kind of wreath experience. For the legs and the head, I just simply wrapped a piece of twine around the grapevine and then just glued both pieces down to the bottom and the top. And when it was all done, this is what my little guy looked like hanging on the door. I thought it was super, super cute. I really love the way this looks. I think it's super festive, and I think it's a great way to ring in the upcoming fall season. And for this next project, I'm going to be using one of these fall harvest trucks. I love these wood cutouts that they have this year from Dollar Tree. These are super, super cute. And then I also grabbed some of these wood pieces from Dollar Tree as well. First thing I'm going to do is actually remove the pumpkins from the truck. I know everyone is freaking out, but it's going to be really, really cute. I'm using my tool from sliceproducts.com. I absolutely love that tool. And then I just simply removed the pumpkins. Once I had those pumpkins removed, I also removed this backing on the truck. I don't know what this is technically called, so I'm just going to call it the fence that holds everything in the back of the truck. And as you can see, it removed pretty easily. I took some antiquing wax and just covered that completely like so. And then through the magic of television, my truck is now red because I'm a bonehead and I forgot to film this part. So I am going to paint the wheels and the hubcaps of my truck. So I'm going to paint the wheels black, and then I'm going to go through with some kind of silvery gray chalk paint and just paint those center hubcaps. I think all of us are really good at painting. Some of you are much better at painting than I am, so I'm not going to show you this whole entire process. You'll just, again, see it being done here shortly. So for the back of the truck, I am going to go ahead and just glue this on the back of the truck. And I'm going to do it a little bit higher than normal. And look at that. All of a sudden, those hubcaps are painted. And this little piece here, this little cutout for the truck, I'm actually going to cover that up with a piece of painted cardboard. Now, the back of the pickup truck, I am going to glue some of these wood blocks on the back of my form here because I need something to help hold those wood pieces in the back of the truck. So hopefully that makes sense. And so this is what it looks like now. And as you can see, I'm literally just going to start adding some hot glue onto those wood pieces and gluing them in the back of the truck. And when you have that little elevated piece, remember I did not stick it directly down on top of the red paint. You can kind of see now what's in the back of the truck, which I think is super, super cute. You can see how I've glued a couple long wood pieces right there along the base, and then I'm simply just going to take my other pieces and glue them together until you get something like this. Super cute, right? I love it already. But I wanted to also create a sign for Firewood that this little truck is delivering to all of the crafters around the world. And I am just going to take some of these great Dollar Tree letters and an oversized popsicle stick, and I'm just spelling out the word Firewood. Whoa, don't know what just happened with that crazy camera jump. I did trim down the edges of my sign, and then again, I'm just going to take some antiquing wax, go right over top of those letters, kind of like so, and then we're going to dry that off. And when we do dry it off, I did use my heat gun for that. I dabbed away also some of the excess because, you know, I love to overglue and I love some over excess. But as you can see, I'm just kind of wiping it away. And then once it's dry, you will go through and actually peel those letters off of there. And when you do, it kind of creates this really cool effect that I am just digging so much. I glued it to the side of my truck, and again, super obsessed with it. And this is what it looks like on my bar. Absolutely love this. Think it is super, super adorable, and very happy with it. And for my last project, I'm going to be using 2 of these Dollar Tree Slingshots.
You can find these in the summer section at your local Dollar Tree. It's probably the section that is slowly turning into fall. I also grabbed one of these scrap pieces of wood that I had left over from a previous project. If you don't have a piece of scrap wood and you can find one of these signs from Dollar Tree, that will work also. And then I did take a Jenga block or a wood piece and just break it in half. Then I took my slingshots out of the packaging and I'm going to remove the elastic strap, the ball, and the little cradle thing that comes with the ball. You're not going to need those. And then I just took one of my saws and literally just cut this directly in half, kind of right where that stem meets that curved part. If you have a blade that is super sharp, that is ideal. You'll have two pieces that look like this. I think that this is already shaping up to be something fun. I took my mouse sander from Ryobi and just sanded down my board just so it wasn't so rough and it would actually take paint a lot better. Then I did stain my board with the antiquing wax from Waverly. I love the antiquing wax, and for this one it was actually the very last drop literally of antiquing wax that I had. So then I took my Jenga wood pieces. Oh, and by the way, I did paint my stands blue there. But I did take my Jenga wood pieces and glued them down at the end of each board. And then I added a very generous amount of hot glue and glued those legs down to either side of the board, kind of like you see me doing here. These were pretty easy and they held really well. And this is what it looks like when it's all done. It is the cutest little candle riser or decor riser, or a candle decor riser. You could certainly just put succulents and twigs and rocks on it, or even some candles. We are going to take the letters that I've got there spelling out boo, and we're going to also use this chalkboard. This came from Dollar Tree. The letters I picked up at like Michael's and Hobby Lobby. It was a couple different places. So I'm going to take my white pencil here. This is just a regular kind of art pencil, and I am going to draw a shape around the eyes, or the O's. They're O's, but they're going to be used for eyes. And we're just going to kind of be tracing a ghostly kind of shape here. Now, I can't really see that super well, certainly enough to paint, but I'm going to go ahead and give this a little bit of a border using my Arteza paint pens. These are acrylic markers. By the way, these are linked down in my Walmart storefront. There is a craft room makeover storefront, and it does have some of these materials in there. But anyway, this is going to be a ghost, and what I'm going to do is just kind of paint this up and just kind of make sure that I am kind of following the line first, and then we'll start kind of filling in on the other parts of this, because I want to make sure that this ghost looks, you know, as good as possible. I'm still kind of learning some of the paint techniques, and I go a little heavy sometimes, but that's okay. This is chalk paint. Chalk paint's usually pretty forgiving. I'm going to go ahead and use my heat gun here and just kind of get this first layer dried, and then we're going to go ahead and go in. I did a second layer, I just didn't film that part for you guys. And then I'm going to take my paint pen and just kind of round off some of those edges just so it looks a little cleaner. Again, this is that Arteza acrylic paint marker. It's pretty easy. So after that dried, I did flip it over, and I'm going to go ahead and remove this strand of beads that are at the top here. But I'm going to keep the beads intact. I'm just going to add some different colors to this. So go ahead and pull off a couple of these beads. I did end up pulling all of them off except for one, because I want to alternate with some other beads. I wanted to do something that was definitely a little more Halloween inspired, and so I'm going to add these black beads into this because I think the black beads will bounce really nicely off of the chalkboard. If I had orange beads, I would have definitely done that in here as well. Certainly I could have painted, I guess, my wood beads there, but I didn't want to paint them, so I'm just going to go with this black and this cream. But again, I do think it ends up looking really good when it's done. Now, The reason why I didn't pull off the other side there is because it's got the the staple holding this onto the chalkboard, and I want to make sure that that stays intact. And then I just put the other staple literally right back in the hole of where it was. So that made it pretty easy. Now, the letters, I took those out and I spray painted them orange. So now I've still got some orange in this, and I'm going to just glue the O's, or what I'm considering the I's, onto my ghost here so he can have some eyes. And then we're going to spray, or I was going to say spray paint. I already did that. We're going to glue the B onto the chalkboard as well so we can make a cute little boo sign here for Halloween. Now, I would probably go back and maybe add some googly eyes or something into the O's, but I do think that this turned out really, really cute. I could see this being on the backdrop of my craft room, and something that would be really, really fun. Now, for this next DIY, I'm just going to take this very simple Crafter Square wood sign, and I took mine outside and I just spray painted it orange. Now, as you can see on the other side here, it is orange, and this is a gloss. So I'm going to go ahead and actually sand this down just a little bit because I don't want that gloss shine to be on here. Now, I did create this on my Cricut. Obviously, if you've got paints or if you're really good at painting, you can kind of recreate something. Stickers would actually work for this too. And I created Joe Bob's pumpkin chunkin' tossing sign, and I think this turned out really, really cute. I almost added some beads where the holes were, but I think it's pretty awesome. These chair covers that I picked up from Dollar Tree, and we are going to create something very, very special. Now, if you take your chair covers out, you're going to notice that it has this little bit of a lip here at the top, but don't even worry about that. Take your second chair cover and you're going to open that up as well, and you are going to place it over top of your other chair cover. So you've got two of the Scarecrow sides facing out. In my case, I used one that was, I guess, technically the boy Scarecrow, and one that was technically the girl Scarecrow. That way I've got a reversible pillow. We are creating a fun pillow. Now, go ahead and take your two chair covers and you are just going to glue them together. You're going to take some hot glue and you're just going to go all the way around. You could certainly use a fabric glue if you wanted, but this is felt. And this actually worked out really, really well. I love the way that this turned out actually, because the way that you're gluing them together, it really makes it feel like it's a scarecrow. Now, go ahead and stuff it nice and full with your favorite stuffing. I just grabbed an old pillow, and then you're going to glue together the final side here where you kept that open so you could stuff everything. Look at the size of this pillow. And the best thing about this is it's reversible. These are going to be perfect on my front porch. Now for this next DIY, we're going to take two of these houses from Dollar Tree, and we are going to take some little wood blocks, and we are going to use these ghost picks that I picked up at Michael's. We are going to create some very cute ghost-like shadow boxes that are not going to be scary. They're going to be perfect for Halloween. I know for me, I don't typically do scary Halloween. I tried to do kind of fun transitional Halloween. Now, you are going to take the picks or the metal piece that come with these ghosts, and you're just going to go ahead and remove them. I'm using my lineman pliers here, and it cuts through metal, it cuts through wire, it cuts through all kinds of things really, really easily. And you're just going to do that right at the tip of your ghost, and then there will be a little piece of metal that's still inside there, so just go ahead and pull that out. It's just kind of the remainder of the stick. And unfortunately, this is where I kind of goofed up, and I didn't film a lot of the rest of this DIY, which is kind of why I'm just kind of rambling on here. What I did was I took my houses outside, I spray painted them black, and then I took my little wood blocks and I glued them to the back of my ghosts. That way my ghosts were going to be kind of standing up, kind of like what you see here. Right now the ghosts are kind of balancing on that wood block, if you will. So
go ahead and take your little wood blocks and you are going to glue those to the back of your ghost, because that way your ghost is going to appear like it's kind of flying in the air. And I did take my houses out back and I spray painted them black. By the way, I have not shown you guys like when I spray paint anymore. I've just been kind of eliminating that. Let me know, do you miss that kind of footage? Do you want to see me spray painting? I'm assuming most of us know how to spray paint, and if you want me to include it back in there, I'm happy to do that. I have no problem at all. So now that I've got my ghosts ready, this is unfortunately where I lost the other footage. I spray painted them black. I love the way these turned out. I put some little garland pieces behind there just to kind of pop. I glued them right to the back of the ghost. Then I glued them to the center of my shadow box, and I've got these cute little ghost shadow boxes. Now kind of jumping back into the harvest kind of ideas or fall kind of DIYs. You've got a candlestick here. You've got these long kind of craft cinnamon sticks. I found out that these are actually cardboard. They do have cinnamon kind of scents to them, so they do smell like cinnamon, but they're actually made out of hard cardboard. Now, I wanted to originally glue these to the side of my candlestick, but I wasn't sure if that would work well or not. So I decided to take a piece of yellow ribbon that was going to be very flexible, and I just kind of guesstimated about how much it was going to take to wrap this around. Now, I'm going to take my yellow ribbon and I'm just going to lay this out flat. I'm going to go ahead and cut it down, and then we're going to move our candlestick out of the way. And we are going to take our cinnamon sticks and we're going to glue them to the ribbon. And the reason why I'm doing this is because then I'll be able to wrap this ribbon around the candlestick and tie this off. So go ahead and just line up your cinnamon sticks along your ribbon. You can do this, in a lot of different ways. You could certainly use spaces. You could use different size cinnamon sticks if you wanted to. I wanted to do just full cinnamon sticks because I love that these cinnamon sticks are the same exact height. They're actually even just a slightly smidge taller than those Dollar Tree candlesticks, which is perfect. So as you're kind of pulling your cinnamon sticks out, if you have some that are a little wonky, maybe a little weird shaped, you can kind of play with that placement. The idea here is to have them as close together as possible. And when you've kind of moved on and you kind of see, like here, you can see I obviously need to add more cinnamon sticks. So just keep doing it and keep going until you've got enough to almost cover it. You want to leave a space for about 2 cinnamon sticks worth, and you'll see why in just a little bit. So now that I've got this all wrapped up, we're going to now tie this around, and you can see that by eliminating those 2 cinnamon sticks, that's actually giving me a little bit of leeway to kind of play with this. And then you can just fill it in with the other 2 cinnamon sticks like so. And now after I've got this all ready to go, I am going to take this larger fall harvest ribbon that I picked up. This, I actually think I've had this since last year. I did get it at Dollar Tree though. And I'm going to glue this around to my cinnamon sticks. That's kind of the point of that ribbon because it's going to help with the glue. Now you could certainly glue this to the cinnamon sticks, but I wanted it to be a little more loose looking. I didn't want it to clump or kind of do anything weird, because also this is going to be removable. That is the other really good thing about this, is because those cinnamon sticks are on that ribbon. Once you've kind of got everything, once your candle is burned out, you could easily remove this and put it onto another candlestick. Now, I did take another piece of yellow ribbon. I'm just kind of feeding it up around that larger ribbon. And then we are going to take this and we are just going to tie off a bow to kind of complement and coordinate with the ribbon itself. And when you're done, you've got a really, really cute DIY. I love this so much, and you can use it for every single candle that you burn this year. Now for this next DIY, we're going to take these houses and these Dollar Tree lights, and we're going to create a little village. Now I am just going to do one just for this example, but imagine getting like 3 or 4 of these wooden houses. Paint them up whatever color you want. You can find very similar houses at Dollar Tree. This did come from Dollar Tree, but you can find other ones at Michael's. You can find them at Hobby Lobby. You can find them at other craft stores. And just paint them up. Paint them up to whatever your desired color is. I'm going with just a very simple basic black because this is going to coordinate best with my Halloween decor. Obviously, you can paint this whatever color you want. Now, for your lights, you're going to take the lights and we are going to actually glue them to the back of your house. Now, the lights, when you're gluing these, you will want to just glue on the wires. You will not want to add glue to the light bulb portion. At least that's what I did here, and it ended up working out just fine. You'll see. So you're going to just kind of take your string lights and you're literally going to be gluing them down kind of in whatever works for the size of your house. And the important thing is keeping those light bulbs kind of close to the windows of your houses. That way, when everything is illuminated, you've got the glow of those lights. Now, you don't want to show your light bulbs. You want those to kind of be hidden. But I think you understand what I'm saying here. And you are just going to add this string light to the back of your house. Now, this is the battery operated string lights, and I think this probably works best for a small project like this. If you're going with a larger set of houses, perhaps the lights from the like the plug-in kind of lights that you would get for your Christmas tree, for example, they make them in Halloween colors, and you could certainly use that as well. But when you are done with this, it is the cutest. I love this so much. I can totally imagine an entire village of Halloween houses. You could use purple, you could use white, you could use orange lights. So cute. Now this next DIY is going to incorporate these canning lids that I picked up from Dollar Tree. You can buy just the lids by themselves. And if you take all of these lids and kind of put them all together to where the kind of corner of the edge, I guess, of the lid is kind of within each other, it is going to create kind of a fan. And you'll kind of see what I'm talking about here as I kind of piece these together. And when you kind of squeeze them and pinch them like this, you've got kind of this ring. So go ahead and take some twine and just kind of feed it through there. I just took my big ball of twine here that was still on the spool, and then I just kind of cut the spool off and kind of fixed it back the way it was. And all my hard work for nothing. And you're just going to take the twine and you're going to tie this off in a knot. Now, I use this kind of thicker twine. I think if I were to redo this, I might use a thinner twine, but either way, it's going to work out totally fine. And then you're just going to kind of start fanning this out. Now, when you take your twine, make sure it's a good sturdy twine and just kind of fan it out, tie it off in a knot, trim away your knot, and then as you kind of start to kind of play around with it, you will see that it starts to create this really cool pumpkin shape. Now, I've got this kind of leftover scrap piece of wood. I think this was from one of those Crafter Square snakes that they had out, and a leaf. I took my cans outside, I painted them orange, and then I just grabbed my glue gun, I stuck the leaf to it and the stem. Again, how cute is this? This is perfect for fall. If you didn't want to see the twine, you could certainly just glue your lids together with some super glue. I am in love. We're going to take this spiderweb pole that I found at Dollar Tree, as well as this candlestick. I have been waiting for these bowls to come back in. I missed them last year and have been wanting to do something like this for quite a while. I'm going to take some hot glue and I'm just going to place a very generous amount here in the middle. Now, the bowl will not sit exactly flat on top of your candlestick, which is why I'm going to add a lot of hot glue on here. And then once that is all dry, I did take it outside and I'm going to spray paint it my favorite matte black spray paint from Rust-Oleum. You could put a candle in this like I have with some decorative greenery, or you could put some Halloween trick-or-treats in it. And then, of course, this one, I just put my coffee pods in it.
Now for this next project, we are going to take some Hot Wheels tracks that I picked up from Dollar Tree. I tried to find these 2-packs of the tracks, but couldn't find enough of them. So I ended up buying these single tracks. But now you're going to end up seeing, or at least in the video, you're going to end up seeing that I end up not using all the tracks, and I don't end up using these wood beads either. I do, however, end up using this piece of wood. Now, first thing you're going to want to do is just find the center spot of your wood square, and I'm just using a ruler and just kind of dragging my pen down there and kind of finding that center spot. I did put a screw in the middle of that and just kind of drill a hole in there, and this is a nut and a bolt, or I think that's what it's called. I unfortunately did not get one that was long enough, and this is the only size that I had. So the idea here was that I was going to be joining all 6 of these tracks together kind of like this. And as I was kind of going through everything, I would be creating this kind of pumpkin out of all of them. And by the way, I don't know what's going on with my footage here. My camera keeps messing up on me. So I just settled for a twofer instead of a 6er, but I think you kind of get the idea. If you had a long enough washer and bolt or nut and bolt, you could totally do this. Now, I forgot, like a bonehead, to paint the base of this first. So I did just kind of go with a white. You could certainly paint this any color you wanted to. I originally was going to paint everything white, including the orange track, and I was going to glue those beads on there, but I ended up just kind of going with the orange because I really did like the orange, and I think the orange is kind of perfect for fall and kind of perfect for a pumpkin. Now you're going to go ahead and just kind of play around with the tracks and get them kind of round, or at least kind of rectangular. And then I'm going to add some wood pieces from Dollar Tree right on the top to kind of create a stem. And then I'm going to take these leaves and add it. I added a battery operated tea light. So cute. Really love the way that this turned out. This DIY was definitely inspired by Hobby Lobby and also by Shannon over at the Daily DIYer. I loved this so much on her channel, and I have a kind of a leather leaf garland that I bought from Hobby Lobby last year, and I wanted to create something that would really complement it. And when I saw Shannon do this, I was really excited about it. So definitely check out her channel over at the Daily DIYer. I took my 2 different leather leaves and separated them. Then I just took them outside and spray painted some of them navy. Now I did switch up my twine. I'm going with just a regular twine here, and I'm going to snip the ends off of the leaves because you really don't need them. And we're going to just tie a very simple kind of loop at the end of this. That way, when we do hang up our garland, we have a place kind of for the hook. In my case, I have a brick mantle, so I have to have that little hook because I've got some clear little clips or little command strips on there. You're just going to take your clothespins and you are going to pin your leather leaves on there. And I'm just alternating because I took some of my leather leaves outside and I spray painted them navy. I took the kind of smaller leaf and painted it navy, and then I took some of the larger leaf and painted it navy. And with that navy and that leather color, it creates such a cool garland strand, and it's the perfect color combo for my mantle. I love this so much. And for this next DIY, we're going to take this cute little wagon I picked up from Target Dollar Spot, as well as these raffia pumpkins. The wagon, I think, was $5, and the little pumpkins were $1 each. I also have this hay bale from Dollar Tree and the hula skirt that is from Dollar Tree. Cut this up into smaller pieces. By the way, huge shout out to Megan over at Glue Guns N' Roses for coming up with this idea. She shared this in one of her videos such a long time ago, and now every summer I always grab lots of hula skirts. Just simply add your hay bale and some pieces of the hay, and then we're going to arrange our pumpkins. Now, this one pumpkin that has this white stem, it was just bothering me. I don't know why they did that, but it was the only pumpkin that size and that color, so I just kind of went with the white stem. However,
I did paint it. I used some antiquing wax and totally painted it into a brown stem. Now we're just going to take our pumpkins and arrange them. And then I took this thankful sticker, added it to the front, and you've got the cutest home decor for the fall. Now, talk about cuteness overload. This wreath is so adorable. I took these Dollar Tree pumpkin picks or stems and these mini wreath forms. I'm just going to end up using one of these. And then I grabbed these really cute trucks at Hobby Lobby. I love them so, so much. I want to add this blue one, and I also want to add some greenery via this garland stem. First thing you're going to do is just kind of take your pumpkins. You're going to cut them all off of the stems. You can certainly pull them if you wanted to, but I found that it kind of pulls the velvet if you do that. So just go ahead and snip them off, take the time. Now for this garland, I'm actually just kind of ripping apart. I'm pulling off these boxwood pieces. I did try and wrap it around the wreath form originally, but it was just kind of bulky. And I liked the way that the boxwood just kind of laid flatter on there, I guess. So some of the boxwood pieces have wire in them, and the ones that did have the wire remaining in them, I just twisted those around at various spots around the wreath form itself. And then for that little truck, I did add a piece of green tape on the back there. I added some glue, and then I added another piece of tape, and the truck is in place. Now for the pumpkins, I'm going to take these little velvet pumpkins and just kind of alternate them, different sizes, not different shapes, just different sizes, different colors, and just kind of work my way all around the wreath form. And when it is done, it creates the absolute cutest wreath I have. I wish that this wreath would be like a giant adult size one, if that even makes sense, because it is so, so cute. I absolutely love this so, so much. And I kind of want to make a giant one for my front door. And by the way, you may have been noticing my work surface here. This is a silicone crafting mat that I picked up on Amazon. It is linked in my description box below in my Amazon store. Nothing sticks to this. Hot glue, chalk paint, stain, everything will come out of this. All you have to do is add some cleanser, wipe it off, and you have a clean work surface to start your next project with. Definitely check it out. Now for this next DIY, I'm using this palette that I picked up from Dollar Tree in the plus section. I also grabbed this great stencil. This was from Hobby Lobby, and it came with two different kinds. Now this truck stencil, I loved it, and I needed to use it. Now I'm just gonna add some antiquing wax to my board and get that the kind of color and the shade that I want. And then I am going to just kind of continue to rub it until it gives the color and the kind of contrast that I want. Definitely want to get those sides and those edges. Use a little paintbrush if you need to kind of get into those cracks. I did use my heat gun as well, just to kind of continue to let this dry. And then for that stencil, I just taped it down with my green tape here. And I'm out of my stenciling brushes, so I'm using a washcloth. It's an old washcloth, and I'm just kind of making sure that I'm doing it very, very slowly. I'm kind of going up and down and not trying to drag it left to right, and just being very, very, very patient with it. Now, as I'm kind of doing this, I'm just kind of holding different parts of the stencil down just to make sure that it doesn't shift around and move around until I've got the color that I want. I am going to take my heat gun and just kind of, speed up that drying process just a little. And then when I remove the stencil, as you can see, I've got the cutest little sign here. I'm loving it. Now I am going to add a little floral spray at the bottom. I'm just kind of cutting these pieces of wheat. I'm going to cut that metal kind of piece out of it and that just kind of pick them off of the stem. And then I'm just going to start gluing these down into a little spray underneath my truck. I was super, super happy with the way that this turned out. I think that this is so, so cute. I love the stencil size. I also love the sign. Again, the stencils came from Hobby Lobby and the sign came from Dollar Tree Plus. How cute is this? I also added some wood beads to the handle just to kind of give it a little bit more personality.
You will absolutely die when you see how easy it is to turn these LED lanterns into solar lights. The pumpkin just kind of snaps apart. Take that light, put it aside, take your little pumpkin guy, snap him back together, and one of these Dollar Tree solar lights fits perfectly down inside of your pumpkin. Now you're going to want to remove that yellow tab just to make sure that your light works, and you've got the absolute cutest solar light that you are ready to put outside. Now, this is one of those motion activated ones. It's quite annoying. So I did remove that as well. And then I just took this one and glued it down right on top, and boom, you've got two of the cutest solar lights for next to nothing. Now, speaking of lights, we're going to turn this clear vase into a light with some Mod Podge, some string lights from Dollar Tree, and some napkins. Cut your napkins into some strips and then into smaller squares. We're going to take our glass vase here, and we're just going to add some Mod Podge to it, and then we're going to add our pieces and our squares to it. You can do this in strips, you can do it in squares, you can crinkle it up, let it dry for 24 hours, and then test your batteries out and your lights out with some batteries. Make sure that they work. Go ahead and uncoil your strings. Then you're going to drop that battery pack right down inside of that. It's great because it does come out really, really easily. Take your light string and just kind of feed it down into the vase, kind of like so, and you've got the absolute cutest accent lamp for your fall decor. Next DIY, I'm going to use this wreath form and these flowers. I bought 9 of these. There were 3 different color combinations, so I bought 3 in each one. And we are going to take them all from the pots, and then we're going to take these stems and we are going to trim them down just a little bit. Now, once I've trimmed all of those stems down, by the way, I'm using my lineman pliers here. If you don't have a pair of lineman pliers, they make doing florals and wire cutting and things like that so easy. It is super fluid. You can also find this in my Amazon store below. Now, for those leaves, I am going to be adding just a little bit of hot glue because I do want to make sure that those leaves are kind of staying on those stems. Because you are cutting down the stems kind of close, you don't want those to slide off. So go ahead and just take the time and glue those down as well. And then for the wreath form, you're just going to take your wreath form. I flipped it over upside down, and we are going to take our flowers here. I don't know if these are moms or what are these. Let me know in the comments below if you know what these are. But I thought they were pretty, and that's what we're going with, these pretty flowers. So you're just going to take them, and you're literally straddling your wreath form, and then you're going to add some hot glue. And when you add the hot glue on the backs of this, you are then going to just kind of push your wreath form down, and when you do that, you've got everything that's going to really get nice and solid on there. Now I just took my flowers and just kind of fluffed them up a little bit, worked my way around, and then I added this black and white bow because this is going to be for my neighbor, and she loves buffalo check. Now this next DIY is something that my mom has definitely kind of inspired me from. I'm grabbing these pumpkins, some styrofoam, and this old rusty truck. Now this truck was something that my mom got me for Christmas. It had a really cute Christmas tree in the back of it, and then just being outside, the weather has kind of got to it, and then I added some antiquing wax, kind of roughed it up or rusted it up a little bit, and now I'm going to add my foam blocks. Now I'm keeping them in the plastic because, believe it or not, it will actually be a little easier to remove those when I do want to decorate this up for Christmas. Now go ahead and add your foam blocks in the back of kind of whatever vehicle you've got, and then again we're pulling out the hula skirt. Hello Megan, once again from Glue Guns and Roses. Definitely check out her channel. I'm sure you all know who she is already. And we're going to add some straw into the back of that. I'm going to add some glue right on top of those blocks just to help keep that straw down, because this is going to eventually sit out on my front porch once again. And then I'm going to add my hay bales from Dollar Tree. If you can grab these hay bales, I recommend grabbing like
like 5 or 6 of them if you can. Glue those in the back of your truck, and then we're going to start adding our pumpkins. I went with all of these kind of burlap colored pumpkins, and when I'm all done, I've got the cutest little rusty old pickup truck that I can use for Christmas and other holiday seasons to